So we kind of talked about what are the different brackets. So once again, there are the handrail brackets over here, the flat rail brackets, and then the guardrail brackets. And then finally you have the handrail extension brackets. Once again, just to recap this real quick, handrail stairs. This is a handrail stair right here. We don't really have a flat rail. A flat rail would be like the handrail, except it'll be uh, flat or horizontal. So this almost looks like a flat rail. If it has posts coming down, that will become a flat rail. The difference between a flat rail kit versus this right here is that this is a handrail extension. What's included is that, once again, it would be two middle rail bracket. You have the top rail bracket. Nowadays, it will be this one. The older version is this style. There will be these screws instead of the other anchors that includes it. And then a top rail connector, which is right here. Okay. And then lastly, the guardrail brackets. So once again, the guardrail bracket and the flat rail middle rail bracket, they are more or less the same. There is some exceptions to this, but they're more or less the same. So if we look and compare here, these four will basically go onto our guardrail and including our V1 guardrail gate kit. So let's go take a look at those right now. So this is the gate kit right here. So if you notice, it's very similar to your guardrail itself. So this is, let's take a look at the guardrail here. So this is the guardrail. So if you take a look at it, you will notice that the brackets on both ends, and there's four of them. Let's take a look at it over here. It's been here for a while. Once again, we are 2 blocks down away from the ocean, and it has been here for about 3 years now. So these are the brackets that would go onto the ends. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are the brackets right here. Okay, so going back to the gate, once again, the gate is more or less the same design. Slight differences, more or less the same design. Once again, brackets 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you notice here, you can kind of see some rust here. This rust isn't from the metal itself. It's actually from the metal shaving when we screw in these self-drilling screws. So it's really important that we advise the customer to go ahead and blow off the self-drilling screws. Otherwise, that's when it's going to rust on the surface of it. If you take a soft brush, you can more than likely brush it off because that's just a superficial rust that's there. So let's talk about what's included in these kits. Once again, this is not a necessary standard. For example, the guardrail is having a little different bracket configurations are still going to have fundamentally screws that goes into the post. So anything that goes into the post with the pre-drilled rivets are going to be these flat end screws. So these screws will go through these holes right here. Same thing for the bigger right here, right here. So these screws right here will go in here, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there, if there's rivets. Once again, if there is no rivets, we do have self-drilling screws that can go in and basically secure any metal point. So we also use the self-drilling screws to secure the middle rail and the top rail bracket onto the post itself. This locks it in place. So that's why we need to use self-drilling screws. And the other last note here is that if we ever need to trim the distance down, let's just say you want to customize the steps a little bit more. You don't want to use this pre-built configuration, which is what we have here. Let's just say we want to make this post shorter, maybe closer to the steps right here. You can. All you got to do is cut the railing short. And the pre-drill rivets in here will not work well because they will not be in the right position anymore. So all you're going to do is we're going to provide self-drill screws to the customer, and they can move this bracket closer up here. All right. Okay. And then what is typically included in a box, assuming there are posts, is that we're going to provide wedge anchors for the concrete. For some of our newer models, which is designed for deck, we don't provide the wedge anchors, but if customer requests, we can provide that to them. Otherwise, lag screws are designed for wood. So for the cable railing and the guardrail, which is typically used for wooden decks, that's what we provide. We provide both here for the handrail and flat rail because that's standard, since most of the time it will go into some sort of concrete step, if not wood. And then we also provide the end caps, the drill bit. We provide the pencil to measure the depth of the hole, also for marking, and then also a extension bit holder. It just makes the installation so much easier with this, and obviously a hex bit as well. So that sums it up over here.